everybody, welcome to the Horror Slash Show. Already, I know you noticed that Megan is not with us. Truth be told, she's dead. Actually, she's not. I'm just joking. She will be back with the show, and everything will be great. But this week we go it alone. But that's okay because we got a lot of cool things to talk about, mostly with our guest, which I'll get to in a second. And of course, we have Sassy Sledgehammer coming on, and I know you guys love that segment. But you know what? We also have some cool episodes in the future that I want to kind of talk about. Not too much in detail, but we kind of teased that we're going to be doing a Halloween episode, and we are going to be all dressed up, and it is going to be, and with the talent that is on this show, these costumes, they could be pretty awesome stuff. So you're going to want to watch that episode. That's going to be a real fun one. Also, we are teaming up with Fangoria Magazine for a special episode, and I'm pumped about this because I grew up on the magazine. I mean, like a lot of us did. And we're going to be having some people from the magazine join us for a special episode in October in our build up to Halloween. So you're going to want to watch that episode, and that's going to be really, really cool. A lot of fun stuff in that one. My first guest today is actually one of my favorites. And it's funny because I have been trying to get her on a podcast since, I would say, honestly, 2013. So that's how long this courting period has gone on. She is by all means a worthy, I guess, bearer of the title Scream Queen. Today on the show, the one and only Tiffany Shepis.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. Nice of you to join.
Yeah, apparently there was like a whole nother spam folder that I never even knew about.
Is that
where I was like, that's where you were.
That's where I
was. Yeah.
Yeah,
you were you were in the trash, which makes kind of perfect sense.
Wow, you're starting already. I was expecting a rough ride, but I didn't think it would start off in the first like 30 seconds. But here we are.
That's where we're at. Yeah.
So it's funny because, okay, so Megan, who's my co-host, is not here today. And part of me is a little upset because I have a feeling that you two would have been dynamite at just making me feel,
bad,
pathetic. And yeah, but I think you could do it on your own. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm in a good mood today, though. So I don't know. Maybe we need Megan. We need Megan's
okay, no, let's
try and keep it.
Let's try and keep it harmonious and then see what happens, right?
I guess.
So okay, I was saying in the lead up to this segment that I have been trying to get you to do a podcast for about 7, maybe 8 years.
I am not sure that's completely true. Maybe you've thought about trying to get me to do your podcast for 7 or 8 years, but you've never spoken to me about this podcast until recently, where I said, absolutely. So
okay.
I don't buy the bullshit.
No, fair enough. No. Okay. So I'm not saying you were just flat out rejecting me. And I will actually, you know what? I even I looked back at some of the messages, and I think there was one in 2015 or 2016. I'm like, if I get a podcast going, will you come on? You're like, sure, let's do it. Like you were like, so you weren't.
Yeah. So rewind your nonsense and say what it really is that you were the slacker in this relationship. You did not own up to what you said you wanted to do, which was interview me on your podcast.
I'll admit it. I have no defense. I had like 7 years, and but anyways, here we are.
We're here now.
Okay. All right. Ooh, this is going to be a segment. Okay. So we have, I mean, I'm thinking of like where to start with you, and because I've been a big fan of your career, and then there's other things too to talk about with you. It just, I could spend so much time with you, but we'll try and keep it concise. But let's start from the beginning. You were Troma born and raised, right?
I was, yeah, man. I like most horror kids that I knew growing up, you were a fan of two different camps, right? Like you were East Coast Troma, crazy, blood and guts, Toxic Avenger, or you were West Coast kind of Charlie Band, Puppet Master, you know, and then some of them all met in the middle, but I was definitely Troma world. You know, we would watch crazy horror films like on the weekend when my parents would go out of town, like, you know, Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bolorama, and like the cheesier and crazier and the more smutty kind of the better. And I was just in love with the genre. And I was just a kid in New York, and you know, I acted in a like a NYU thesis project, and I really loved acting, but there was nobody in our family that did those kind of things. So it wasn't, I would, to say it was a pipe dream is not even accurate, because it wasn't even on my radar at all. Like
it wasn't like reality.
No, it was like, how the fuck would anybody go about being really in movies or on TV? Because in New York, it was, at the time, it was Broadway, and it was like, and also that too, unless you were like raised in the theater, which like we were not, that wasn't going to happen. So I went to this high school with a lot of theater kids, and they were reading a paper called Backstage, and at the time, I didn't know this then, actors got all of their jobs from there. Like that's where you knew about casting calls, and you knew about photo shoots that were happening, and you knew about how to get background work. And I was like, oh, let me see that, because I was just bored. And I'm like, holy crap, Troma Studios is looking for actors for their new movie. And it was like said like big print, like no experience necessary. And I'm like, that's me. And so I went and I got my little like modeling picture, because like I did little things here and there, and you know, on the back it like listed your special skills, which I didn't have any, so I made them all up. And I went and I met at Troma, and they were casting Romeo and Juliet, and which, you know, little do we know is going to be this huge Troma masterpiece. And you know, James Gunn was going to go on to be James Gunn, and super famous, and everybody involved in that kind of world did great things. And I auditioned, and I got the part of Peter, the bodyguard to the Capulet family. And I got it on a straight up lie, because I said I knew Kung Fu, I guess, or Jiu-Jitsu, which I knew Jiu-Jitsu like peripherally, but not like I claimed to. Like I was like a street fighting New York kid. So it was like, oh yeah, I know how to fight. And I could sort of like throw a punch like this, and it looks kind of cool, which it did. But I was not the black belt that I claimed to be, nor was I the age I claimed to be when I got the part. But thankfully, it didn't really matter. And they kept me in the movie. I was Peter, the bodyguard to the Capulet family, and then did a whole bunch of stuff with Troma, and just kind of engulfed myself in that world. And thankfully, because that's really what introduced me to like the conventions and the film festivals in a way that was so different than I was at them before, which was as a fan. And yeah, so I mean, when people say they owe their world to Troma, like I kind of do, because I'm not certain I not read that paper with that casting call, like if the career would have gone that way or not. Like I don't know if I had it in me to have searched it out, because I just didn't think it was something that was obtainable, you know?
Yeah. And so like before that, was acting something you wanted, or was it just something that was maybe there or something?
I mean, I liked doing it. And, you know, I was like the little dumb kid that was in beauty pageants, because clearly my mom had some complex that made her put her child in beauty pageants. And, you know, I would always do like, you know, the song number, and like, you know, and like win Miss Photogenic. But I wasn't a model kid. So I clearly would never win the, like, I'm so poised. Like I would always get the laughs up there, because like I would do something really weird, like walking really fast and then like do a strange pose, you know? So there was like theatrics and everything that I did. And, but again, like I had absolutely no idea that was something you could do. Like I really didn't. It was like the same as like becoming a fucking astronaut. Like there's nobody in my family that's an astronaut or even good at science. So like, how would you think about going to be that? And it's the same with movies. Like I didn't even know although we had watched lower budget films, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that was like a career kind of, not choice, that you could make, where like you could have a career doing those kind of movies and you don't have to just be super famous.
Yeah, for sure.
And make a living doing that. I mean, we made horror films in our backyard, and apparently they're in some dude named Anthony Cassone's backyard somewhere in New Rochelle, New York, if anybody wants to go find that dude and dig him up, because we buried them in a time capsule.
Oh, really?
There is a young me jumping off my roof with like ketchup and a knife.
So you're a pretty badass when you're probably hard to control.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Fun's a good word, Jason.
Okay, fun. I was saying the same thing with, I was never bad. I was wild. I was never bad. Yeah. I don't know if that would apply to you. I don't know about that.
There was a touch of bad, but I think I wavered back to just wild.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay. So, but after that, I mean, the wheels were in motion. I mean, I'm gonna name some of your films, but Death Factory, Vinyl Dolls, which I own on DVD. Sorry,
of course you do. Pervert alert.
No, it was that's okay. That's what I get for like supporting you. Abominable, Night of the Demons, Bag, Bleed for Me, Axe. And there's like, you've got literally hundreds of titles to your name. Like, that's kind of cool, right? Like, I mean,
dude, so you know, like every well, at least my career, I shouldn't say every career of every actor, because some are just fucking doing great all the time. Yeah. I'm not always, like, right? So there's like the ebb and flow of my career, where it's like, oh man, like I'm on 20 movies a year and I love every one of them. Or it's like, oh man, I'm on 4 movies this year and all of them suck. Yeah. Or, oh wow, nothing's come for a year and a half. Yeah. You know, so in the times where nothing has come for like those stretches of time, I have to put myself in check. And like, I'll walk into the office and it's like, fuck man, like I have people that have made me like action figures of myself. Like I've got movie covers in like 20 different languages. Like that's pretty cool. So I do remember how pretty outrageous it is to have had a career for this long in one genre, especially one that, you know, make so many cool things, like toys and posters and, you know, weird masks.
Yeah, no, it's true.
You know, I did the other day, a Blu-ray, like commentary kind of interview for a movie I did called Brian Loves You, like 15 years ago. Yeah. Dude, I had to rewatch that movie so I could know what I'm talking about. Cause I honestly, there were scenes that I shot that I don't remember at all. That's funny. And so that's kind of rad that these things kind of keep popping back up. And
that's what's awesome about horror, right? Because like, I mean, you could have been in, you know, Sophie's Choice and maybe another highly acclaimed drama film and then just gone away. But horror, you could be in, you know, good movies, bad movies, but you know, the fan base keeps you alive, and there's so much that, so it's kind of a cool thing. But does that happen to you anymore, that you go through like, you know, stretches of time without work? Because I mean, you got the name now. I mean, everybody knows your name within the industry.
Thank you. But yes, because like the entire industry, you know, there is that point with women where like you're hard to place, right? So it's like you kind of like age out of playing the young love interest, but you're too young to play the mom of the 25-year-olds, right? Like, so you're kind of in this like spot, and where I feel like with the stuff that I've done, like I kind of feel like I'm a character actor in a lot of ways, like, because I feel like I'm always doing something different, yet I don't get sent out for those parts. Yeah. So, but it's all good, man. Like over the last couple of years, some of the stuff that I've done has been my most favorite. And maybe that's because it's not just a numbers game. It's not like, oh man, I need to make 20 movies this year. It's like, oh, I made Tool that I'm really, really into.
Okay. So let's get honest with certain things, because, you know, like I'll see, you know, a movie that you're in and, you know, automatically catches my eye, and, you know, sometimes you'll be on the cover, sometimes your name is top in the, 3 names at the top. One of them is always Tiffany Shepis. And then you're in like, 10 minutes of the movie. And that pisses me off. So here's the thing.
It's lame. And I've told people, and like it got to the point, I think toward like some of like the later ones that I did like that, I would have to tell them like, I'll do your film, but you cannot put me on the cover. And don't put my name there like that, because I do think it's like it's a shitty thing to a fan who maybe is only buying it for that reason. But then on the flip side, the writer, director, or producer is only hiring me for that reason. So I get it both ways, but
yeah. Okay, so but my thing isn't that. It's not so much that like, I'm I feel like, I got screwed over or anything like that. My thing is like, from a filmmaker's perspective, if I'm bringing you into a film, like I'm giving you the role, like because it really bothers me when I like, I'll see you in a film and, and then I see it like you've got like really cool scene or something like that. And then the rest of the movie is decent, but like, it's just got people that no one's ever heard of, no one's ever seen. And I'm from a producer's mind, I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I bring Tiffany Shepis on this film and then, put her in an opening scene or a middle scene? Like, sometimes you could probably play a really cool character, like you were saying, a character actress, like, and you could have that character, but I don't get it. I'm like, if I'm hiring you, I'm hiring you. You're working.
What I think happens a lot of the times is producer director, let's just say producer director in Austin, Texas, gets their funding for their movie, but the funding for their movie comes with a caveat that they have to use producer director's niece, Jen. Right. Yeah. But then they realize like, oh, all right, Jen may be okay, but Jen's not going to get the genre fans or, bloody disgusting or whatever to report on our movie. So we need to bring in some genre people. So then it's like, bring in Tiffany. And then I'll read the script. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I should be playing Jen's part, but Jen is already cast. And I think a lot of times it sort of goes that way. It's like packaging comes with the people that they have attached. I've also found out later on stuff, like people were like, oh, well, we didn't think we could afford you. And I'm like, to be perfectly honest, my rate for a cameo is higher than it would be for a lead part, because a lead part I'm getting something out of. Generally a cameo in something, unless they're huge people and I'm just begging to be in your movie, like it's like, oh, all right, I'm just the gas station lady.
The awesome gas station lady. Yes. Okay, because that was another thing I was going to say. Like maybe it's a financial thing, and then obviously you got to understand that, but
But I think sometimes people I tell people this all the time. Ask, like if you want Dee Wallace, ask.
Yeah.
Hey, how much would it cost for you to be in my film? We're shooting this day, and this day, or whatever, right? Like ask. Like all she could say is no.
Yeah.
And you may be surprised, like, oh wow, I can afford some people that I thought I couldn't. I don't know why I use D as an example. D is great. But you know what I mean? It's like, I think a lot of times people get scared away by stuff that they may have heard or, and don't realize till later, like, oh shit, like, we could have had so-and-so for our whole film.
Yeah, no, it's true. You're good point. So, and you kind of mentioned this. So do you notice a decline in, I guess I won't say quality, but quantity of roles? Like when you were starting off of Troma and you were making slasher film after slasher, you were like the teenager. Did you find that it was just easier to slip into these productions than it is now?
Yeah, but there was also a whole different thing then. The $100,000 to $500,000 movie is not as they're just not as many right now. Like I think people realize the value in horror films and realize like, all right, well, we're going to make a big studio film. We're going to make like a Blumhouse, giant, huge, multi-bazillion-dollar thing that's going to have all these like famous genre stars from the past, right? In them. Or they had to be made like so micro budgetly because you're not making money on like, the red box of stuff anymore. You're not, necessarily selling to Walmart or Best Buy, like all of these units. So they're going straight to streaming. So then you have to make them so small that whatever
Mm,
you get paid from Netflix or, Shudder or whatever that may be actually makes you some money. So I
yeah.
think a lot of these like middle movies, there's just less and less of them, leaving people like me, where you're just not working as much,
Yeah.
because I'm not getting as many auditions for like the big ones, because now big famous people want to be in horror films,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
kind of always what happens. Like, I remember used to beg studio people to like look at scripts or look at projects, and they're like, oh, horror movies. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm serious. Like, horror movies. Yes, listen to me. It's like, now,
Yeah.
every kid at my son's school is wearing like a Universal Monsters shirt,
Yeah.
right? Like,
It's
it's
true.
just so trendy.
It's true.
So that's what I think just those kind of middle films, there's just less of them, and there's also more competition for them because there's no stigma with horror movies anymore.
Yeah.
So
Have you seen every single movie you've been in?
yeah, probably. I mean, ones that like I've done like a little cameo for that I didn't have a good experience on, like
Yeah.
where I was like brought in and it was like, oh God, this was a shit show. Like, I should just give them back their money. Those I'll generally just like watch on fast forward, like,
Yeah.
just to see
your part,
what a
yeah.
mess of a thing I was in and how embarrassed I was. Yes. So
yeah,
I
okay.
have it to some extent seen
Yeah.
everything I've ever done.
Do you have a favorite role?
I have a couple. Like, I loved the stuff that I did in the violent kind.
Okay.
Because I like playing monsters, and
Yeah.
I like being covered in blood, and I think it's fucking cool. And I got to crawl around on a ceiling, and that was dope. And,
Awesome.
I loved doing stuff for Sean's movie for the Frankenstein syndrome, just because I really like medical terminology and
Yeah.
crap like that. And I'm always the one, like, anybody in the house is sick, I'm like, let me tell you what type of mesothelioma it is. Like, so awesome. I loved doing that. I did a movie called Texas Cotton with Lou Temple and George Hardy and Jason Douglas, which is not a horror film at all, yet it has all horror cast.
Yeah.
And I just played a deputy, like, which I love playing. So I don't know. I have a lot of different things I love. Victor Crowley, I got to just be nice girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, those are the most boring, to be perfectly honest with you. But I don't know. That's why I talk about like kind of character actory stuff, is that I feel like every movie I've done has always been somewhat different. That's why it's always hard for me to say, oh, this role was my favorite to do, because I don't know, a lot of them are pretty fun.
Yeah. So back in the day, I mean, if we're gonna be honest about certain things, I mean, you were not shy, right? You did your fair share of nudity. How were you comfortable with that, or was it just something you did?
All right, so I used to talk a lot of big game about, like, yeah, it's your body and everyone should be so comfortable, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, for a long time, I was like, I'm never going to do it. Like, I don't want to. I don't think you need to see me naked unless I want you to see me naked.
Yeah.
And then I got an audition for Bloody Murder 2, and I really wanted to be in Bloody Murder 2, and the role required nudity. And I remember just being like, but I really want to do it. And I remember asking them, like, well, you sure she has to be naked? And they were like, yeah, basically, like, if you want the part, this is what it entails. And so I did. And then it's sort of, I mean, I guess whatever. I mean, I was then fine with it. It wasn't like I was like, oh, why did I do this? Whatever. I think, had the choice been do another movie that doesn't have it, and if there was more option with that, like, to me, Bloody Murder 2, because even though it was a sequel to a terrible movie, it actually had like a cool budget, and like they were shooting,
it was a good film,
40 days, and they were like up in the mountains, and we got to stay there, and it was sort of like, I was excited about it. So yeah, like, hindsight 2020, would I have just waited for something else that didn't, and then just not have been on that track? Yeah, because that's sort of what happens. It's like you do it for one, and then somebody else is like, well, you got naked in Bloody Murder 2. Oh, well, you got naked in this. Oh, well, so clearly she's fine with nudity.
She's okay with it. Yeah.
It's a little hard to then be like, because at the time too, it seemed like everybody just had so much money. Like it wasn't like I could just be like, well, you know, it's because you can't afford it. Cause they'd be like, yes, we can.
Yeah.
Like, dang it.
Okay. So, but you found that though, like once it was like a slippery slope that once you did it,
in a way,
expected it.
Yeah. Pardon?
Once you did it, they expected it.
Yeah. I mean, not necessarily fans. It was just the people coming to me
for films,
projects. Yeah.
But okay. So were you okay with it though? Like, was it something like in the back of your head that you're all the time you're like, oh, again, or was it just like
in the back of your head when you got the script and then you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh God. All right. How am I going to tell them I don't want to do this scene, but they could have this scene, right?
Yeah,
it's like, you know, because I mean, and thankfully, like on my movies, like nobody was ever like a dick. Like I think I had like one kid on one movie that was like an asshole, and like now would be like motherfucker be just canceled, right? But mostly everybody was like really like respectful and cool. So I knock on wood never had any problems like that. But you know, I think had I not always did everything like my own way, like I'm gonna like rep myself and I'm, you know, I fucking know everybody, so I'll do all my own deals. Like probably not the wisest, because I probably would have had somebody say, yeah, dude, like you're on a good path, like you're getting so many movies and like people really like you. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because now we're like nudity like doesn't seem to fucking matter.
Yeah.
Then it did. It was like, oh, if you're the person like the Scream Queen who just got naked and stuff, like you're not then gonna get other auditions for TV things or movie things. Like, and I'm glad things are changing that way, because it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter what anybody does. Like, you know, as long as you show up and you're good and you're not hard to work with, like none of that should make a difference. But it did then.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. So, it's funny because I bugged you about this in a tweet once. I don't know if you remember this. You snapped at me, and it was when you were in Sharknado 2, and I said something regarding you died in another film. And do you remember this at all? And then you snapped back to me and you're like, don't mess with my sequel, Pelligra. And I thought it was hilarious. It was funny. But anyways, so the point of that is I bug you, but it's true. You have died in how
so
many
sad.
I know, like is it like, so is that like a prerequisite? you go in and you're like, okay, I'm dying.
You know, I really should have put that like clause in my contracts like Michael Madsen has, where it's like he doesn't get to die in movies. Like I should start that now.
He has that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still there, but apparently, there was always like a clause like in every movie he ever did. I don't know. Somebody listening to this will tell us if this is true or not. But that's what I heard. That's
interesting. That's pretty interesting. Wonder
why.
It's
very smart.
I'm pretty sure Tarantino offed them a few times, but
maybe
that's Tarantino,
it ended
right?
With Tarantino, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, okay.
I'm sure different. Tarantino would be like, I am. We're killing you. We're killing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. So yes, I've died plenty of times.
But you love it.
Plenty of different ways. Oh yeah, dude. It's the first thing people always want to know at conventions and stuff. It's like, oh, well, is like being the final girl more fun or being the victim and like the Scream Queen?
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, the final girl is always fun because you get like that cool stance at the end where you have like a cool butcher knife or a rifle, or, you know, you get like the cool shot where there's like a little bit of blood trickling down your face and you got and like this cool look, right? Yeah. You know, and you're like a little sweaty, but you still look really pretty. Like nobody ever would look like this at all in real life after a fight. So, you know, you get that, but the Scream Queen gets like cool, like, you know, like you get to fight and hopefully you get to kind of try to crawl away from it. Like there's a lot of fun in that. And then being covered in, you know, fake blood, as sticky and gross as it is, like it's a good time, especially if you get to have any cool special effects. I used to love it. I'm probably, there was a moment where I was probably less excited about it, where, you know, when you're doing 10 head molds a year, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this again.
Yeah.
Why can't you guys share them? But I love it. Like, if you're like, oh yeah, and then we're gonna rip your eyeball, I'm like, yes.
Okay, so do you have a favorite or a couple of favorites?
Dang. I did a movie called Basement Jack.
Okay.
Where of course I cannot remember at all who's in that, but there's some really cool people in it. But I play a cop, and I am, you know, going after, like, there's some bad shit happening in the jail and blah 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 blah, and I go to inspect something and I get like gutted, and like there's guts, I mean, coming out of me, but I'm still alive. And like the shot's really cool the way this director did it.
Yeah.
And it's like in slow-mo, so you see like papers flying everywhere in the precinct, and I'm trying to put my guts back inside me. It's really cool. So
you lit up. You like
it just looked really, really cool. And what else? Oh, I did a movie called The Frankenstein Syndrome, and in that, spoiler alert, the dude rips my face off.
Okay.
Which is pretty awful. Like, he like does like an incision and actually like removes my face.
Wow.
And so the prosthetic side to that was actually later, like in the aftermath, when you see me with all these like weird scars and like a skin graft, right?
Cool.
But the scene, like the act of him doing the incisions and like the terror that like I had to portray was just, it obviously it took tons out of me, but it was like my favorite to do, because like you know when you get something right and like the crew just kind of stands there and like they're holding their breath and like they're waiting for that moment to like, oh, okay, shit, like she's all right, like, and I was like, yes, I did it
nice.
right. So that was really cool.
Well, I'm okay. So I'm kind of glad you went there with that, because I have said this on things that I've, you know, whether it's been stuff that I've produced and your name has come up or anything like that, but you can act. And I say that to anybody that will listen, which unfortunately for you is not many people, but
dang it.
But yeah, I know. But you can act. Like I watch you in your films, and now you're, you know, you're in a genre where, you know, being a good actor isn't always the case, and let's be honest. And a lot of scream queens don't rely on, you know, being the Meryl Streep of, you know, film when it comes to, you know, their talent. You are a really, really good actress, and I won't say that to everybody that I talk to. I assure you that you're a really, really good actress.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think I am too. It's just hard to convince other people of that, to give you projects that will showcase it. You know what I mean?
No,
and that's
for sure.
the thing. It's like sometimes, you know, you're really only as good as the crappy writing that you've been given. And you're like, fuck, like, how am I supposed to make this sound real when it's just so bananasly bad?
Yeah.
You know, like, and, you know, and you just do your absolute best. And, you know, the unfortunate thing I always found is like, I'll do like my best work, and then it's not that the movie is shitty, it just performs really bad. Like they just get like a bad distributor or whatever, or no distributor, and then these projects get shelved, and you're like, damn it, I just want people to see me.
Is it hard, like sometimes, like, you know you're kicking ass, you're giving a good performance, and you're acting with someone who's just bringing you down? Does that happen a lot?
I mean, that certainly happens, but I don't tend to care. I'm like, I bring my game, and that's kind of it. It's like, unless the person's there and they're just like a dick, or purposely ruining a scene or something like that. But if they're acting bad, whatever, I'll just shine more.
No, and you do. And I like I said, I think that is actually your strongest, suit, is that you are a really strong actress. And this is my problem with you. Okay, not with you personally. I know this. You're like, okay, wait a second. He set me up. No. Here's my problem. I feel like, you know, you've got the Scream Queen title, and it's well earned. But here's my issue with you, is that I wish for you to get an iconic role. I feel that is the one thing. Like, you've got the body of work, you've got the talent, you've jumped through all the hoops, you've done everything, but you're missing that like, Linnea Quigley in Return of the Living Dead, or I'm just trying to think of,
bro,
like,
you and me both.
yeah.
I tell it to my husband all the time. I tell it to anyone that'll listen, and now it's your audience.
Yeah.
I call it like the machete head character. It's like I want the fucking part that I can go to conventions and not have to be like, oh wait, what do I know you from? Oh, I've seen you in this, or I've seen you in this. It's like, she's in that, you know, or the movie. And so I've told this to people forever. It's like I could then retire. Like, I want the one horror film role that everybody's seen, right? That gets a big enough release that we don't have to like go, oh yeah, well, if you go to this one festival in Milwaukee, you can watch it. You know?
I know.
Yeah, man. Like, that's the end game for me, right? Like, that's my dream that happens. And it really could be in any genre.
Yeah.
But I would hope that it would be in the genre that I've given so much to for so many years.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what? I mean, like, I'll pound my chest for that to happen, because, like, I mean, I think that's just the one thing that you're missing, and it's one thing I really hope for you, and one thing that I think you deserve, like, big time.
It's funny. It's like, if you sit at a convention table with me and I have 100 people that come up to get an autograph, each one of those people are there for a different film. And in a way, I find that really, really cool. That's right. Cool. It means that, like, I've hit somebody with something in all different ways, right? Like, somebody who's into like the pervy stuff like you are, I got you covered. Like, somebody's into, weird Death Factory kind of stuff, or 80s horror. You can watch The Hazing, like,
I watched The Hazing too, Tiffany. I watched The Hazing.
Well,
it's a good one. That's a good one.
I have a really good outfit in that one too.
Yeah, you do. No, I'm flying here. I watched a lot of Tiffany Shepis films. Okay.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you. But yes, I do. I would love it to have all those people that have, they have their own favorites, but all have, as a community, have seen that one, right? Yeah.
Like, even if it's just like one insane death scene in like a film that is like, that explodes, right?
Yes.
And there's sculptures of you at festivals and all that.
Exactly. Rob Zombie, we're talking to you personally. We're personally talking to Rob.
That's who you're going after?
I mean, for years, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you should, I think you could even go higher. I think you should go for Tarantino. Tarantino's making one more film. And I
know what the fuck, Quentin Tarantino too. Quentin Tarantino, Mike Tarantino Flanagan.
Style. Yeah.
I don't know. My feet are not very pretty.
Well, for Tarantino, I was like, where'd that come from?
They are not. I don't have pretty feet. It's the one thing I am like. In that movie Boomerang. Do you remember that?
No,
like Eddie Murphy.
Oh no, I never Eddie Murphy. No, I never saw that. Oh, the pinky toe thing, was that where she shoots it?
No, forget it.
I'm sorry.
Doesn't matter. It's probably it is what it is.
But you know what? So he's got the foot fetish. Okay, so Tarantino's definitely got the foot fetish. But the thing is like, you look at all the feet in his film, and they're not all like gorgeous feet. I think he kind of likes the character of a foot,
of an ugly foot. So I mean, dude, if you think I have an in with ugly feet, I will take it.
I'm not saying that. No, I'm not saying that you have. I haven't stared at your feet. I can't make that assessment. So I'm not going to be labeling.
Nor are we saying that Quentin Tarantino only casts people because of their feet. Let's make it clear, listeners. We're not saying that.
Exactly.
But if my stellar acting,
yes,
and my love for the genre, and my equal love for Quentin Tarantino, and my ugly feet get me in.
You don't have ugly feet. I can guarantee you don't have ugly feet without even looking at them. But I will say this: Tarantino watches everything, so you never know.
Well, I mean, I guess then I hope he's equally a fan of vinyl dolls as you are.
Wow, I mentioned one film and that's like it's stuck now, right? Vinyl Dolls is a great film. Anybody, you got to go purchase it on DVD. It's brilliant. And it's not a horror. It's not a horror, see? Okay, Casualty Fridays.
Yes.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
You guys are great.
Thank you. Yeah, me, Felissa Rose, Kane Hodder. We basically do the same thing you do, but there's 3 of us, and occasionally we'll have a guest, which is kind of funny because all of the guests that we have are friends of ours. So it's less an interview and more of a hangout. Hey, join us on the topic about parrots that we're gonna have today, or weird tribal tattoos and tribes people. Like,
you shoot the shit.
Yeah, we just
no, it's great. You guys are great. You got a great chemistry. Were you guys like were you put together, or did you come up with this? How did it start?
So we all obviously have been friends for a long time, and know each other pretty well, but a producer friend of ours came to us in particular and was like, hey, I think you 3 should do a podcast together. And we were like, huh, all right. And he's like, yeah, I think you should do it, and we should do it for Fangoria. And we're like, wait a second, do you already have this set up somewhere? And he's like, maybe. And so we all get on a call with them, and I was like, I think it should be called Casualty Friday. And they were like, oh shit. And it just sort of like went from there. And so we were Fango's first original podcast that they had, and then we left them and kind of went on our own. And now you can find us on any place, Spotify, Apple, Google Play, any place that you listen to podcasty things.
And you're still doing it. But you guys have like a schedule, or you kind of
have a stupid schedule, which is when all 3 of us are free, which doesn't make for the most consistent podcast. However, we try to bang out a whole bunch at a time, so at least like you can get a couple weeks in, and then it's like a billion mini hiatuses throughout the year. We're like bad miniseries.
So it's funny because a lot of I'll kind of just throw on a random one here and there, and I do get that a lot. Hey, we're back, and I'm like, you get that
like, where did you go?
Like they take a lot of breaks. So, but no, it's a fun listen, and it's like,
hard. It's hard because like those guys like Kane. I mean, even through the pandemic, a lot of them were still doing conventions and things. I stayed home, so I was pretty available, like, all right, you guys ready? And they're like, oh, we're in Shakopee, and like, oh, all right. But I think as things hopefully get better, we can kind of lock down to a regular schedule again, and at least kind of bang out 20 at a time, and then take
be good for the year. Okay, awesome. So okay, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to get dark, but I do want to bring something up that I think is important. But and let me just kind of set it up for the audience. But November 14th, 2019, there was a shooting at Saugus High School. 2 students were killed, including Dominic Blackwell, who was a dear friend of your daughter, Mia. Mia survived, but was shot. Now, I can only imagine, I mean, how this would affect you, your family and your daughter. I guess I can't even imagine. I shouldn't even say that. But along with all the anger, the sadness, and I mean, just everything, every emotion that goes along with that, something good has come out of this. You have become an activist, and you were basically fighting for better gun control laws. Am I right on this?
All of that is true and accurate, and it like anyone could imagine was the worst thing that can happen to anyone's family. And to say this in a weird way, our daughter got shot, yet we were the lucky ones.
Mm-hmm.
And Dominic Blackwell, Gracie Muehlberger, they died, and their children, and it shouldn't happen. And these things should never happen. And they happen continuously in our country every single day. And there's so many of these things that happen that we don't even remember the names of the schools that they happen at, because they happen so frequently. And we gloss back over them because we've become a country that cares more about fake freedoms than we do about the life of a child. And there is a point where I don't know when it happened, and it probably happened somewhere around the time of Sandy Hook, when all those beautiful little babies were murdered, that certain groups of people in this country completely lost their fucking sense of empathy and just went, oh, didn't happen to us, we don't care. And there is nothing good that came out of our story. Me becoming an activist is just something that you have to do in order to keep going, because what else do you do? Like, otherwise you just fall down and fall apart.
Well, wait, I do think you're selling yourself a little short there, because there's a lot of people that, you know, could have survived a situation like that and then just blocked it out, right? Just kind of went.
Correct. But you know what, in fairness, Jason, that's okay too.
It is
because everybody handles things, every type of trauma, in a different way. And if the way you cope is to move away and never talk about it again, that's okay. And if you choose to stand up and fight, that's okay. We look to our daughter, who was shot, and she was shot in the lower abdomen by a .45 caliber ghost gun by a boy who came to school with it and did it on his birthday. He didn't know any of the kids. Why did he do it? Nobody knows. But the one thing that we know is that if he didn't have access to that firearm, we wouldn't be talking about this right now.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be talking about this. So that's where the problem comes in. It's like, you know, we have access to things, and children have access to things they shouldn't have access to. And it makes it very easy to make a rash decision that affected so many lives.
Yeah.
So we asked our daughter when this happened, and she was, grieving the loss of her best friend, Dominic. What do you want to do? I was like, do you want to talk about this ever again? Do you want to move away? Do you want us to move to Canada, which was my first choice, by the way? Do you want to fight? Do you want to? And she goes, no, we need to fight. We can't let this keep happening.
Wow.
We have to fight. We have to make sure that we do something. Like, we can't just do nothing. And so that's what we did. And I found different organizations that we liked. And Mia is unbelievable. She does these talks at so many crazy, great places. She's been on campaigns to ban ghost guns in the city of San Francisco and in San Jose. She's talked with people that, you know, gave Biden some of the orders for the ghost gun ordinance. Like, she is
really
unbelievable in the way that she has turned her trauma into a form of triumph to help other kids and to help other people, and, you know, to help people realize that trauma that she has gone through, that her friends' families have gone through, isn't just a one person thing. Like, right. It affects everyone. It affects our entire community, our children, our parents, her little brother. And so it's been unbelievably cool to see her kind of rise to that, especially since gun violence is really the only trauma that you don't just get, holy shit, I'm sorry, you get this politically charged bullshit that people want to fight you on what happened to you. Yeah. You know, and it's like, you know, if somebody gets into a car accident, people just say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Like, how can I help? People get shot by a gun, and then it's like, well, whose fault was it? It was this person's fault. Oh no, you can't take away our guns. Like, what? Yeah. What? Yeah. Like, that's infuriating. It's infuriating. So the fact that she looks that in the face and has to deal with like crazy ass adults that want to tell her, you know, I mean, she had an adult tell her recently, well, if she was armed at school, she wouldn't have gotten shot. It's like, wait, what?
Like, that's
like,
insane.
What world do we live in? So it's an interesting thing. And it's funny that we're talking about this on a podcast where we're talking about, you know, all the horror movies that I've made, because my life is a strange thing now where, you know, I've spent decades being pro fake violence, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, silly aliens in movies and machetes and you know, firearms, like everything, right? And these crazy horror films. And yet I've always been like, I cringe watching boxing, you know, like it's just not my thing. Like, and I've never was a big fan of like the real, I think that's why I always liked Troma-esque kind of 80s films, because they were so fake and goofy, or like, you know, it's about ghosts. Like the real life stuff is hard for me. And so it's just kind of interesting that my life has become these two things where I still make all these crazy horror movies, yet I have such a huge anti-gun violence part of our life now.
But that it makes sense. It makes sense.
It does. It is interesting. I had the other day, Jamie Lee Curtis retweeted a photo of Mia, and she was talking about ghost guns and banning ghost guns. And I was like, holy shit. It's like my worlds have just collided in such a weird way that like the gun violence prevention world wouldn't understand. And the horror movie world doesn't understand where I'm coming from. But for me, it was such a strange.
That's cool.
Like, cause she doesn't know me. So it was purely on her.
That's pretty cool.
Associating and finding, you know, she wanted to promote Mia's story, and so it was just really
so it sounds like your daughter's doing well. I mean, considering she's kicking butt.
You know, and this is interesting. I like to talk about this because I feel like it helps other people that have gone through traumas, and I hope nobody listening has gone through this same trauma, but it's every day is a different day, you know. We have, and this goes for me, right? Like I was saying, like the trauma only doesn't just affect the person who was shot, right? Like I have massive PTSD issues and weird
can't even imagine
things. Like, you know, I replay every single time I go to drop her at school, little snippets pop into my head of going there to fly with her in the helicopter to go to the hospital, you know. So every day is a different day. Some days are really, really great, and we're like, all right, we feel like we're back to the day before it happened, and then the next day is something else, and that's okay. And the reason why I say that to like an audience listening, that like if anyone has gone through something traumatic, it's okay. You're gonna have that, and you're probably gonna have that forever and ever. It's just gonna get, the bad days are gonna be less and less. Right. And, you know, fortunately for her, you know, we've been able to manage her pain well. And she got a nerve block recently, Go Science, like where they can actually go in with a needle and they block off a nerve that's giving somebody problems, like with an anesthetic.
Really?
And it's so cool. And she got so much relief from it. And you're like, holy shit.
Oh, that's
like,
great.
How do they do these things?
I know. That's
right.
insane.
Like going through like a microscopic nerve. What?
That's pretty cool.
So so we're doing very, very good. Thank you. And you know, I know it's a weird crossover to go from like our lighthearted crazy conversation to this, but you know that I appreciate you, because I know you've been a big supporter of us through all of this. And like a lot of our horror fans that are out there that have reached out to us and have been really involved and always are asking like how they can help, like we appreciate it more than you know. Like you really don't. I do believe that every single little tweet matters. Every time you comment on something, every time you tell a friend, hey, go check out Moms Demand Action or Newtown Action Alliance or whatever anti-gun violence place resonates with you, that matters. It doesn't mean, you know, you don't have to donate hundreds of dollars to something to make a difference. Like it's totally true. So
well, I'll leave it. Yeah, no problem. I mean, I'll even be better than, you know, for getting tweets out there and stuff like that in the future, because, you know, it's the least I could do. I know when you posted it originally, it was hard to read, hard to believe, even though I didn't know you, I felt like, okay, well, I kind of know you, like, as opposed to like all the, just random people that it happens to where you don't have any faces attached. So it really hit hard and I felt bad. So, but then again, I bring this up not only to just talk about that, but just to commend you and your family, and of course Mia, for doing as much as you're doing and fighting that fight. And it's a tough fight. It's a really hard fight. No one has to tell you that, but
thank you. Yeah. I mean, we try to remind ourselves and especially Mia, like, it's always okay to say no. And, you just because you said, yes, you would talk on this event today and you in the minute beforehand don't want to, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. Like, survivor stories are really the most powerful stories in this because they generally are what make people go, oh, wow. Like she looks like my daughter. Oh, wow. She looks like my niece. That could be me,
Point.
And the one thing I tell people, if you know me, even if you're listening to me right now, you are 1 degree away from gun violence affecting you or your life. And that's too close, right? I mean, I've always felt empathy for these people, but there was still always in the back of your mind, like, that's not happening to me. Like, and not that you feel any better than anybody else. It doesn't even, I feel like there's probably a self-preservation inside you that makes you not believe that things like that can happen to you because you'd be scared all the time. But it did. And so, just, those of you in America, vote for people that care about gun sense laws and safety and care about children more than they do about the pockets of the NRA. And that's it. That's my spiel.
There's your spiel. Well, that's for you and your family, and I'm gonna end it off by bringing it back. So I want to, and I'm kind of mad because I kind of wanted us to butt heads and but this has been kind of like a love fest. Maybe this needed to come out first, and then if we have you back on here, then we can kind of go at it. But
we need Megan.
Yeah. I thought I was in trouble when you first came on, but okay, maybe that's it. But I do want to bring you back. So 1997, I made a short film, and
was I in it?
No.
Damn
but if I ever make another film, I'm asking. I'm
blocking you right now.
Yeah, that. There we go. That's more what I was expecting. I think that's a third block threat you've given me.
Okay. Third time's the real one. This is happening right after
it was a short film made in Canada for $500. I couldn't afford you.
You could have. See, you didn't ask, just like my D. Wallace story.
$300 was like for food. But anyways, so it was a small little film, just a slasher. I had a vision of what I wanted to do. I did it, and it really did nothing for me, but I sent it out, and 2 things. Okay. One, it played a festival that you were at. It was in Sacramento, I believe. And I have the thing because I kept
Sacramento Horror Film Festival.
Yes. And I think it had your name and it had my film in there. So I kept it. The little program, I wasn't able to make it there, but I think you were going there. Anyways, so that was one cool thing, one cool tie. The other thing is back in 1997, this shows that, I've been a fan of you. I sent it to you. I sent it to a couple of people within the industry, and you watched it, whether you did or not, you told me you did. I don't even know how I was communicating because 97, there's no Twitter or anything. I think it was maybe just email.
It would have been email. Yeah.
So somehow
it probably was
email.
My old Spider Baby at spiderbaby.com or something.
Maybe.
Tiffany Shepis.
but you got the movie, and then I had to follow up with you and remind you to watch it, and then you said you watched it. I'm gonna believe.
What was it called?
The Black Lake Tragedy.
Oh, I kind of remember.
Okay. Anyways, the point is that
was there a lake?
In the establishing shot. But that was about it. It's like 15 minutes. It's a slasher, and I wanted it to be a slasher. I wanted to look like it was in the 70s, so it's got the real grainy effect, and I just had a blast making it. But you watched it and you responded to me. No one did. Back then, especially, it was a lot harder. And I thought that was really, really cool. And I'm going to love this actress forever for it. And I'm staying that way. I'm sticking to it. And
Jason, I need you to send the movie again.
Okay.
So I can rewatch and I can give you a updated opinion
Oh my
on
God.
the Black Lake tragedy.
Okay, I will do that. I'll see what
I will. I promise to get heavily drunk.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That'll help.
And be in a very good mood when I put it on.
Okay, those are stipulations I can really get behind and appreciate. So I do remember that. It was just a little thing, but it just goes to show, like, those little things sometimes they just they matter, right?
That's it. So now when you make your next movie for $400,
yeah,
right? Oh, wait, no, you have to go up. You have to go up.
I was gonna say $600. No, it's been a while, but
you can hire me for the entire movie.
I'm hiring you. I'm coming for you. You're first.
It's because you know how much I love Canada, and I'm sorry that my audio has been doing crappy things. For whatever reason, my mic stand just keeps getting lower.
No problem. It's a sign. It's a sign. We're winding down. No, absolutely. If I make another film, I'm coming for you. So, and we're going to give you that iconic performance. I'm kind of tooting my own horn here that I'm that good, but
yes, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All it takes is one man. That's it.
I know. Okay.
I could be your candy man.
Let's do it, Tiffany. I'm on board if you're on board.
I'm down. All right. We signed it here. You guys have heard it here first.
Yep.
The Black Lake Murders Part 2.
Black Lake Tragedy. Let's try and
Black
remember
Lake
Tragedy.
All right. Maybe the Black Lake Murders would have been better. Okay. Well, maybe that was the problem.
I like the word tragedy, but you're right. Black Lake Murders. All right. Well, we could discuss this. We'll discuss this. We'll.
I think we're already having problems as a producer, director, and actress, and I think I'm gonna have to let you go.
Wow.
We're gonna bring someone else onto this project.
Holy shit! That escalated really fast there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyhow, it was really fun.
Honeymoon's over, eh? That was fun though. Our partnership. It was short lived, but
it was short lived, but it was a good time for a minute.
It was.
But we're bringing Quentin Tarantino on.
Oh, okay. Well, then I've been told I have nice feet, so maybe he'll like me.
Maybe I could get him on your podcast.
We're mixing worlds here. I don't even know what's going on. We're doing podcasts together. You're firing me.
It's beautiful. It's a very Hollywood relationship.
Yeah, is it? I wouldn't know. I'm too far north, but maybe one day.
One day.
So thank you so much for being on the Horror Slash. I really enjoyed this one-on-one interview. It was a bonus for me.
This was super fun. Thanks for having me. Horror Slash is my new favorite Canadian podcast.
Oh, wow, because we got so many.
There's probably a lot. Actually.
There probably is. Yeah, some like maple syrup ones and
oh my god,
hockey.
I am going to try to find a maple syrup podcast to be on. Oh my gosh, speaking of hockey, before I go, have you watched I can't even tell you what it's on now. It's like this thing on Netflix that it's doing these like really ultra cool documentaries, but they're like quick, like hour 20-minute ones.
Okay.
And this one was on a hockey team, a minor league hockey team called the Trashers.
Okay.
New York City, or like up in New York State, where it's like mob guys that like the son was a 17-year-old kid who was going to be a hockey star and he broke his leg. And so the dad was like, oh, he can't play hockey anymore. So I'm going to buy a team and then you're going to be the president of the team. But it was like batshit crazy. Anyway,
really?
You got to find it.
That's
just Google search documentary on the Trashers. And
okay. Will do.
That is my ending note to tell you about a movie I'm not in.
Yeah. And, Sounds good.
And if anyone is listening, they should also go find the Spooky Sounds of Halloween, and you should buy yourself a Halloween album that is sort of like the old school Disney Halloween albums, and you may hear a familiar voice.
Cool. Send me the link. I'll put it in the description.
I will. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah. Hey, listen, did you you've done your time, but we have one other segment where we do some horror news. Did you want to stick around for that or no?
What is the horror news?
Well, we bring on our correspondent, and she goes through all this awesome horror news.
Oh
And
my gosh.
you don't have to stick around, but I thought it'd be kind of trippy if she saw you.
I will stick around for the first horror news.
For the first little bit?
Yes.
Okay. So let's bring her in.
Hello.
She's there.
Hi, Deandra.
Oh my goodness gracious. How's it going?
Look how cute you look with your red light and your spider webs.
Tiffany Shepis. This is.
I know. I was like, hold on a minute. Wait.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
We want to hear you say do in with the news. So
And with the news.
yes.
So we did a badass interview, and we're sans Megan today. So Tiffany said she's gonna check out the beginning of this segment and probably.
I just really
I wish
need
you'd have
to
warned
know
me.
the first bit of horror news right now. I need to know what is
Okay.
happening.
All right. Well, first off, the big thing for me that I have first on my list, because I thought this was fun, is that, well, it might not be that fun, but anyhow, Horror Hound Weekend in Cincinnati is this weekend. So I don't know how many listeners, viewers, or whatever might be going. I'll only be there on Sunday because of scheduling, but I'm going to go. It's my first con back since everything happened. I can't wait.
And how Tiffany, have you been going to a lot of?
I have not.
No.
I was supposed to go back to my first one in Allentown, Pennsylvania for the PA Horror Con and had to cancel because truthfully, I booked a TV show, but I can't tell you what the TV show is.
Cheers.
But I am, yes, it is Cheers.
Cheers.
It's the Cheers reboot. No, it's not Cheers, but it is equally as cool.
Cool.
And so I'm on hold from basically then until mid-October, which is a great reason to not have to go to, not a great reason to not have to go to my trip, a great reason to not go. But also, to be perfectly honest, I don't know if I'm quite ready yet anyway.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little like some bitch like sneezes at the supermarket, like all the way on the other side, and I'm like ready to fight, you know? So I don't know if I am no,
you're not ready.
Team player
I can tell you're not ready if that's the case. If she's buying grapes and sneezing and you're like ready to take her down, you're not ready.
Not ready.
But okay, so Deandra, who are you looking forward to seeing? Who are you gonna see?
Well, they have a lot of the Nightmare on Elm Street people, and of course, that's my that's where I happen to live. So I have my giant poster that has pretty much everybody that's ever been involved in the movies signing it, and Robert's there, and I've just been like, I'll see him next time. I'll see him next time. And so now, because I had Heather sign in the middle, and I told her, I was like, Robert has to go around you. So, just make it nice and big. So yeah, they have a bunch of people.
Amanda Wyss is truly one of my favorite people of all time. And so I am with you on the Elm Street love, but also on the, when you meet people that you were a fan of their movie or whatever, and then they're actually like pretty fucking amazing in real life. That's Amanda. Yeah. Like Jason, Amanda is like a massive, like big time, like cool advocate too. And it's like always stands behind all of like my crazy causes. So she's tops.
She did one of my podcasts earlier in the year, and it was a video one. I was told after, I was like, oh, she doesn't do a lot of like video podcasts. And I'm like, oh, okay. But she was amazing. I mean, she was so sweet. So and I don't have to sell Deandra on anybody Elm Street. They can do no wrong. She's got blinders on. And
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I do. And I adore Amanda. I've had she's been really helpful over the years, and she's just been a very positive role model. So she's great. Second one is Freeform released 31 Nights of Halloween, which of course is just jam-packed with Hocus Pocus, and Ghostbusters, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Alien, which is surprising to me, but an awesome addition, Halloween Town, Family Guy Halloween episodes, and more. And they also have like Shrek in there, which I mean, I love Shrek. I'm not, but I feel like there can be a lot more Halloween-y movies or something.
A lot of them were really cool, and I saw that list too, and I was actually shocked that I love Ghostbusters, but that it played so many times. it's like there's enough movies that you don't have to repeat all of them. You know what I mean? Like I just thought like they should have kind of picked 31 different horror films, not play Ghostbusters 4 times and something else a bunch of times. No, that was weird.
There's so much to choose from, and it's just constantly. I mean, I love Hocus Pocus. I don't have her out here this week, but my cat's name is Winnie. I have a little Winifred. Like I've loved it growing up, but it's just so much. Like we don't need that much Hocus Pocus.
Wow, that's you saying that.
A lot.
Can't help it. Yeah.
You guys, before you get into more news, I am going to run because otherwise I'm gonna like the newscaster inside of me is gonna keep trying to interrupt Deandra and be like, but did you know about the new? And I don't have any news. So
no problem, Tiffany. Thank you so much for being on the show. And
thank you so much. This was really fun. I'm really glad we finally did it after what, like 20 years or something.
It was about 7 years of half-ass trying, and
you're bullshit trying, but thank you so much. Enjoy. Nice to meet you, dude.
Nice
girl
to meet you.
I meant. And
take care.
We'll see y'all. Bye.
Okay, bye. Tiffany. Take care. Do you hate me?
That was unexpected. No,
I know.
not at all.
No,
I was like, is that Tiffany?
Yeah. Sorry.
What?
You look great today. You
Thanks.
always look great. You always look great, but you look.
Thanks. My sister got me this necklace that says spooky for my birthday, which isn't for like another month, but it arrived super early. So now I'm never going to take it off.
All right. Let's get back to our alone time.
All right. Yeah, I know. More time to pick on you. Joe Bob announced his Halloween hoedown back on October 8th with some serial killer mayhem and Halloween experts to tell us how to carve, I'm assuming, pumpkins.
Yeah, I guess.
Or it could be anything. It wouldn't be a turkey. It might be Thanksgiving prep. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, only on Shudder.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw his artwork. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Okay, this one I'm interested in. Starring The Undertaker and The New Day. An interactive horror movie titled Escape the Undertaker is coming to Netflix on 10/5, my birthday. The Undertaker has set a trap for the New Day at his mansion with supernatural challenges. It's up to viewers to decide their fate. It's like a choose your own adventure kind of thing with the New Day. So
the Undertaker, the wrestler?
Yeah, the Undertaker, the wrestler, and the tag team, the New Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that fits. It works.
Yeah. And I mean, there are a lot of horror cons that have wrestlers there, because I feel like it's one of those things. Sometimes I've told people that they have, like, I don't know, Kevin Nash there, and they'll be like, why do they have wrestling? And I'll tell them that, they'll have horror, but then they'll have a lot of overlap. So they'll have like bands and artists and different things and wrestlers that are related to it.
We may or may not. I'm not going to confirm nor deny that we may have a wrestler on our show in the future. So,
can you give me a hint?
Off air, yeah.
Okay. I need to know who it is.
Well, no, I work the phones. I'm always trying to get people. So we'll see.
I gotta find out who this person is.
I'll let you in.
WWE, AEW.
You're in my inner circle. So you're not
fine.
Listen. There's like you're in. As soon as I have more information, I don't want to sound like an idiot, say something on the air and then.
Okay, we won't say it on the air, but I very, very much expect at least like this could be possible, and then you tell me who it is.
As long as if I say could be possible, you're not gonna
No, I won't. I won't raise hell. I give you enough hell anyway. All right, number 5. Disney has been exploring the truly infinite possibilities of the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the new Disney Plus series What If, which I have not watched, but somebody recently asked me about it. And the latest episode concept is opening the door for the arrival of the Marvel Zombies. This week's 5th episode of the series is one we've been waiting for. Zombies awaken, in this episode. I haven't watched it. Well, it is Tuesday. So that'll be pretty fun. Zombies and Marvel.
Yeah.
I've still got to watch this show because that's like a wild concept. What is that
is.
even? What is that going to do? I don't know. I want to find out. Number 6. I don't have to read the numbers, but next up, Pinhead and the Chatterer are now in Dead by Daylight.
Wow.
Pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Warner Brothers dropped a short teaser promising the first trailer for The Matrix.
I'm interrupting.
What?
I'm interrupting.
What?
Wow.
Go.
Holy sassy.
What?
I was just going to say, are you a Hellraiser fan?
Yes, I love Hellraiser.
Yeah.
I love Hellraiser.
Sorry, I asked.
Kirsty Cotton's one of my top 3. Oh, I'm sorry.
Jeez.
I've got a night Coke in true horror and A Nightmare on Elm Street fashion. They're always drinking Coke at night.
Nice.
Shameless plug.
Patricia.
Yeah. But like, even if you watch like the different movies, somebody's always picking up a Coke and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I think,
night
it was
Coke.
it was a Kristen thing in the movie for sure, because she did it in 4 and 3. Yeah, I gotta have to look for that now.
Yeah, so The Matrix.
I interrupted. I'm sorry.
Dropped. No, it's okay. I had to figure out where I was.
Yeah.
The Matrix Resurrections teasers dropped. So it starts out with 2 pills, and then you have 2 different experiences. I started watching the one. I didn't get a chance to finish. But they've also relaunched their official website, which features over 180,000 teasers. So you visit whatisthematrix.com and make your choice. You just choose between the red pill and the blue pill.
Wow.
And you just have a different experience. And by the time this episode drops, the teaser will have dropped. It drops on Thursday. So for everybody watching, that's yesterday. So go check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah. Still going with the Addams Family. The new Addams Family 2.
They should be paying us.
I know, for real. The Addams Family 2 heads straight home on October 1st. So you guys can keep an eye out for that. That's a great way to also kick off the October month, is with some Addams Family. Gotta love them. Coming to Sci-Fi in October and USA in October on IGN is, of course, Don Mancini's Chucky series. Brad Dourif is back. They dropped a new poster this week, which looks really, really cool. Mm-hmm. Of course, Jennifer Tilly as well. And will be a continuation of the storylines from the original movies and their recent sequels, The Curse and Cult of Chucky. Also returning are Fiona Dourif as Nika, Alex Vincent as Andy, and Christine Elise as Kyle. And then Devon Sawa is also in it.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that'll be really, really neat to see. Yeah. I've been following Jennifer Tilly every time she posts something.
She's the best. She's so
yeah.
Cool.
And then the final bit of information I have this week on kind of a roundup is the brand new chilling app. This sounds really interesting. For anybody who likes podcasts, it's basically a storytelling app that tells you spooky stories. So kind of like a radio show, but it's a podcast app-ish for spooky storytelling. It started out as a YouTube show by a gentleman called Being Scared, created by Dane Petrali. So if anybody likes scary stories and wants to listen to it in the car or play it wherever, that's something to
subconscious.
Get involved in. Yeah.
Nice.
So those are the key things that I saw this week. A lot of the stuff was just kind of the Joe Bob. That kind of happened right after we filmed last week's episode.
Yeah.
All this came out and I was like, save it immediately. Yeah. Bring that up next week. Okay, let's get into polls. The whole reason I'm actually here.
No, you're here for a lot of reasons.
So one of the first polls we had was, we had 3 this week. First one was, do you believe in ghosts? Mm-hmm. Twitter, said yes for 68%, no for 32%. Instagram said 75% yes, do believe in ghosts, and 25% said no. So pretty much mostly everybody believes in ghosts. The second one was the best paranormal ghost haunting film. People named The Frighteners, The Changeling, A Ghost Story, which is a little bit more recent, House on Haunted Hill, love it, 13 Ghosts, which I would say is probably my favorite, The Entity, Darkness, and Poltergeist were some of the frequently named movies.
Cool. Interesting.
And then the final one, it looks like streaming could be the future of horror. If so, do you think that's a good thing? Twitter, 60% said yes, 40% said no. Instagram, also pretty close in the same kind of range. 68% said yes, and 32% said no. Some of the reasons people gave were that for TV shows, yes, but for movies, maybe they might be made subpar. Other people said great chance, convenient chance also to reach a larger audience.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think I agree with both those points. Actually, they argue against each other, but I agree with them both.
Yeah. So those are the polls for the week.
Nice job. Good
what
job.
What about next week?
For poll questions, I was trying to think of like, a story, a storyline or a headline that you had that we can convert into a poll, because I don't have much right now. I'm trying to think of something.
Well, I know that we talked about having a lot of Halloween ones, and I assume that we'll have a lot in October with everything going on. But the one that I had was based on a discussion this week talking about Halloween decorations, or if people prefer to put up scary Halloween decorations or like fun, spooky Halloween decorations, because now everybody's either decorated or decorating.
Yeah.
And this one picture I saw was just, it was a bloody display of like people's heads smashed all over. And I remember several years ago there was a controversy of a house near a school somewhere had pretty grotesque decorations, and it really upset the parents. And people were like, it's their house, they could do whatever they want. And then other people said it's a school, I don't know. I was kind of like, I could kind of see both points. I'm a little bit more of a spooky fun person for Halloween.
Could tell.
Even though I think having fake arms hanging or around is also pretty cool, like a balance in between. But too gory for me, it isn't fun for me. It isn't fun for me as much. Like, I love horror, I love going into Halloween haunted houses that have gory setups and whatnot, but in my front yard I like to keep it fun with like purple lights and orange and fog and pumpkins and things like that, kind of like how they decorate, I guess, in Trick or Treat. Those houses, those are a lot of fun because they're still kind of spooky. You can have that Halloween essence, but then also have a little bit of the horror in there. So that mix, I like.
But
one question I had.
No, that's a good one. I mean, we just got to word it kind of like, or can the decorations go too far?
Ooh, that's a good one. Can Halloween decorations go too far?
Okay, so easy, yes or no, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. Good job. You did it.
Thanks. Yay.
God,
I had one win for the day.
Oh, you look great. You brought the goods as usual. We'll stick with one question this week. We'll give you a lighter week based on what you had to endure today. But you know what? I got to say about you love everything. And like, I mean, I'm sure you don't, but you really do. And you have such a, we talk about me. Well, okay. Well, we talk about
I kind of do love everything.
Yeah. I don't know how. And it's like, it's, again, yes. Okay. I can be a little bit negative. I could be a little bit pessimistic on certain things, but you are the yin to my yang, because, I'm like, I wish I could love like you love. Sassy.
Well, Sassy. I feel like the areas that I'm positive are more external than a lot of like internal stuff, because sometimes I'll look at situations and I'll get really stressed out and I'll be like, the worst that could happen. And like, I'll put that in my brain. But I guess when it comes to a lot of stuff, I tend to see the good in it. And if it, like movies or TV shows, and if I really don't like it, I normally don't talk about it. I'll be like, I didn't really like it that much, or I won't finish watching it. And then I just never really talk about it. But it's really important as somebody who reviews or discusses, like the one thing that I am really comfortable about talking about some negative stuff would be A Nightmare on Elm Street, because I'm okay with identifying and saying, yeah, that's not that great, even though overall I look at it positively. I guess I can critique it, probably because everybody knows that I just love it so much. But for the most part, I just don't address all that stuff. But when you're critiquing a film, or you're a reviewer, and people really want to know what you think and analyzing it, having that eye and not being afraid to be like, I didn't really like that. Here's why I thought that stunk. Here's why. That's important. And that's why I think I wouldn't be such a great reviewer for just specifically opinions about a movie. Because if somebody was like, I want to know if that's good, I would find something good to talk about.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't have much to say at all. And then it wouldn't be that interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, there's a poll question. Do you, with horror films, do you think more like Deandra or more like Jason? Happy,
yeah.
Positive, negative? Well, I'm not negative. I'm tough. I'm
do
tough.
You shit on movies, or do you find one thing that brings you joy?
Yeah. That's a good one right there. But yeah, anyways. No, but I do think it's pretty amazing. Like when I watch back some of the stuff that you talk about and the passion you have for it, and it's like, yeah, that's I wish I was there. I can learn from you.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's really why I'm here. It's true. It's
all
all of the sass, all of that is just simply trying to build character.
Speaking of that, I have a surprise for you. I'm hoping next week. Yes.
Oh wait, you told me this week, and now it's next week.
Well, yeah, this week it was. I thought of the idea this week. I'm hoping that next week. Look, I'm giving you a surprise. And you're giving me crap because it's not soon enough. Just after I praised you for being so open-minded and nice and liking everything.
I told you there are some things, and it just happens to all revolve around you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it's me. Okay, fair enough.
Oh no, not at all. You're a pretty cool dude. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing whatever that might be.
Yeah, I think you'll.
Can we have a hint, or no hints?
Oh, it's just.
Is it a shirt? Is it a costume?
No.
Is it
it's not. By the way, this is my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that, actually.
Just shook my set.
Did.
Really? So that's a bullshit. You know why? Because how there's certain movies that you might love, but you kind of suggest it to someone, like 30 years after the movie was made, and it doesn't really hold up for a first time viewing 30 or 40 years later. But if you grew up with it, it's lights out awesome, right?
I don't know. Most of the stuff I really love is like older, and a lot of times I see it for the first time. And given that it has Tim Curry in it and
Madeline Kahn.
Yeah,
like the best.
Yeah.
No, you definitely. Wow, you were able to see that on the shirt, or you just know of the movie?
No, I know, because I've seen people post about it, and I've been like, I have to see that movie. And I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
It's fun. It's got the big house, the suspects, and everything. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of those movies that the more you watch it, the more you can just really get into it. And yeah. So there's a project for you.
All right,
putting you to work.
All right, you've got to deliver the surprise next week and the wrestling thing.
Oh, the wrestling.
And I will watch Clue between now and next week.
Will you really?
Yeah, I'll do it, and we'll talk about it. All right. I'll give you my honest review. Okay. And if I actually find something I don't like, I will tell you.
Well, it's not a perfect film. It's one of those.
If I find that I hate it, I will tell you.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Cool.
All right. So I think we're done. We've got homework. We've got
assignments.
Crap.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go. Let's do it. All right.
I'm waiting for it. Oh, you froze.
I did. Yeah, my internet's not that great.
Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
All right. Here we go. For real this time.
For realsies.
See ya.
So that's all the time we have for this episode of the Horror Slash. I'd like to thank Tiffany Shepis for being on the show. And of course, Deandra, Sassy Sledgehammer, for all the horror news and polls and results and all that good stuff. We'll see you next week on the Horror Slash.